SHW. This is our wrestling.
This is insane what we're seeing right now.
We're going out tonight. It's been a long, long time. Make sure I look just right. It's going down.
Heads up, here comes the strap.
All hail the queen!
Another spear, will it be enough?
No, not this
like
way.
this, not like
Come
this,
on.
no.
This is just bedlam right now.
Hey, what is going on here?
Let's start this party, then I'll feel alright.
You've got to be kidding me.
Holy cow.
And now, the voices of SHW, Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What is going on, everybody? It's that time of week, time for the official podcast of Southern Honor Wrestling, SHW. This is our wrestling feed. Double Brandon Benefield, GB Gerard Bonner, and the beautiful Diana Michelle. Guys, we're 1 week closer to SHW36, and I cannot wait. How are y'all doing?
Doing good. I'm excited. It's going to be a big show. I mean, oh my God. The cards that's been posted this week has just been amazing. Cannot wait.
Yeah, we're exactly 7 days away. And as we learned 7 days ago, a lot can happen in 7 days.
Yes.
Absolutely. Before we get going here, we're going to preview the card for next week's show, SHW36. But yeah, let's backtrack a little bit. 1 week ago, as you recall, we mentioned it on this podcast, that same night, Southeast First was a live show that streamed live on IWTV at the home of Action Wrestling in Tyrone, Georgia. And SHW was a part of it. But not only that, one of our SHW OGs since the very first show, AC Mack, was up for a very big title against one Alex Shelley, the IWTV World Championship. And AC Mack was your winner. And not only that, Owen Knight was defending the SHW title that night against Kyle Matthews, one half of our tag champs. Owen Knight successfully defended that belt, so he will go on to face Joe Black in that match next Friday, SHW36. But what a wild night. I mean, it was kind of crazy just in and of itself that SHW was a part of the show. So to see Kyle and Owen have that match, and it was a great match. I mean,
it was
two of SHW's finest right there, putting on a great show. But then on top of that, to have somebody like AC Mack, who we've known here for the last 3.5 years since our very first show. He was in the very first match with Jordan Kingsley at our very first show. And very proud of him to see him go on and do what he did and winning that IWTV World Championship. So I know you guys were watching at home. I ended up getting down there at the last minute. And
good that you did. You got to call the SHW match. That was awesome.
Yeah.
You rushed out of here and ran down there, and I mean, you're Johnny on the go, or should we call you beat up on the go? Yeah,
that'll work. That'll work.
Yeah.
It was, but what a wild atmosphere! It's the first time I've ever been down there in that building, and jumping on commentary for the SHW title match. Their commentator's name is Dylan Hales. Great guy. Okay. Got to meet him for the very first time. And they had me jump on for the one match, but just watching the entire show. It was very cool because what it was, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 9 different promotions from the Southeast that participated in this show live on IWTV. So people all over the country, all over the world even, were watching this show live as it aired. And very cool. A lot of different promotions had their titles defended on the show. And Dylan even said it a few times during the match, that bringing up the point of how surreal it was that SHW was in that building, was a part of that show, and that the title was being defended in Tyrone, Georgia. And it was crazy. It was a bit surreal, but it was pretty wild.
Well, the wrestling industry has clearly changed quite a bit. If you remember, the three of us were a part of a show last year called Hell Freezes Over, right? And you can go back even before that. Go back to the Rumble Jack 2020, when we saw a number of folks from varying promotions show up in the Action building inside of the Rumble Jack. Like, we've seen sprinkles of, everybody's talking about the Forbidden Door. It's the popular thing to talk about right now. Well, you got to understand that here in the state of Georgia and in the Southeast, the Forbidden Door thing is a real thing, right? Like, promoters working together, wrestling promotions working together is not necessarily a common thing. And so when you have events like what happened at the Rumble Jack in 2020, like Hell Freezes Over, that also happened in the Action Building in 2021, and now you start 2022 with this whole, what is now a movement, quite frankly, Southeast First. And, it was just initially we thought it was just a show, which the idea that all of those promotions in the same building working together is kind of like, what alternate universe are we in, right?
Right,
But
right.
but then what's even crazier is at the end of this whole thing to watch AC Mack, our own AC Mack, crowned as the new IWTV Independent Wrestling World Champion, and then give a promo that I will
Man.
just go on and say now, it was a promo that gave me the same vibe that I got years ago when Shane Douglas stood in the middle of the ring with the NWA Championship and rechristened it the Extreme Championship Wrestling World Title. Like, it was that kind of a vibe where this is a movement, and suddenly 8 promotions that were apart found themselves standing together behind AC Mack, and now the IWTV Independent Wrestling World Championship is now held hostage by the South. Like, this is an entire, and I hope, because there are probably some people that are going, is this SHW conversation? You better believe it as SHW conversation, because we lead the Southeast. So we have to talk about this. And I think it was just, I can't get over how I felt. I felt like that. I felt the same way I felt at WrestleMania 2019 when Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship. Like, I felt all of those things that I did not expect to feel. We were watching because the SHW title was on the line. We're supporting Brandon. It's what we do. We literally were having our own little watch party together. It's amazing the things that we do, right? And as soon as Mack started coming to the ring, I was like, wait, this feels different.
Yeah.
This feels big. This feels extremely big. So I can't say how proud I am. I'm so proud of AC Mack being the new IWTV Independent Wrestling World Champion. I'm proud that so many of our guys were there represented, standing alongside him, as really it's the Southeast against the world. And bring it on, because we can handle it.
Man, and that match itself was it was one of the top matches, I believe, of the year, if not the decade.
Yes, it was incredible. It was incredible.
And to see everybody, SHW people alike, and just everybody cheering on AC Mack from ringside, not from side, ringside, banging on the mats.
Yes, and what a sight that was.
Oh man, our little conversation, of course, we having our little watch party. Brandon's in the middle of it. I'm jealous as I'll get out because he's in the middle of it.
Right.
Our conversation had been going on the whole show until it started getting really intense. And then that, when you, like you said, when that feeling changed and it started getting real big, our conversation stopped. It was just like we had to stop talking so we could soak it in.
Yeah.
That whole thing. And then his speech at the end, I ain't gonna lie, I was out.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of teary over here. I mean, I'm so proud of him.
Yeah.
So proud. Go Georgia, guys.
Yeah. Can I add a little bit more context to this? Because I think this is incredibly significant. So, what do Jonathan Gresham, Chris Statlander, Orange Cassidy, and Wheeler Yuta all have in common?
IWTV Independent
They are
Wrestling
all
Champs.
former IWTV Independent Wrestling World Champions.
It's not bad company.
Not bad company at all. And so, again,
and
AC Mack,
Alex Shelley,
and Alex Shelley, who let's just, when I saw that AC Mack was fighting Alex Shelley, I was like, okay, I have to see this.
Yeah.
Because I'm a massive Motor City Machine Guns fan, huge fan of Alex Shelley. The fact that he was carrying the IWTV World Title is a big deal. That's a big, big deal. And I mean, like, one of his first defenses was against Ruby Soho. Like, it's like, wait, there are some significant names. And I mean, this was October. So this was Ruby signed to AEW fighting for the IWTV World Title. Like, to me, I don't know that everybody always understands magnitudes of moments.
Right.
This is a massive moment. And I know our good friends at Georgia Wrestling History, they're counting whatever. Well, let me just be the first to tell you, if that's not in the running for promo of the year, throw it all away. Yes, I'm saying it on video. You see me saying it. Throw it all away. If AC Mack's title win and his promo is not up for contention for promo of the year, period.
January 2022.
You better remember it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those promos that come December, everybody's going to be remembering. I mean, yeah, it was 12 months ago, but it was that good. It was that good.
Yeah,
it was that special. The moment was just that special.
It was
and
the whole moment.
You guys, I'm telling you, being there in person, it was
God, I was so jealous. We were saying we should have won.
Yeah, we said that a few times.
And you know, we say this on commentary for matches at the Action Building for SHW shows, and not to take anything away from those moments, but there are certain times where you just feel it before a certain match or during a certain match, after a big match, you know, you just feel it in the air, the atmosphere, you feel the goosebumps, you know, and this was definitely one of those moments. And like you said, the whole match, as soon as he came out, that place lit up.
Yeah.
And it was a great crowd then. I got to give it up to Tyrone, Georgia, man. That was a great crowd. They were hot from start to finish. And especially
they were just even from what we saw, we could feel it.
And they took it up a whole notch,
Yeah.
a few notches at the end. You know, sometimes like by the end, crowds kind of maybe wore out at some point, and they kind of not as hot as they were at the beginning of the show. Well, no, this crowd I think got even hotter during that main event, and it was intense. Yeah, that locker room emptied out. Dylan, our Dylan from SHW was down there. He jumped up at ringside.
Yeah.
Garrett was down there, and you know. People, like you said, the locker room emptied out. They're banging on the ring, and just afterwards getting in the ring. And I was right outside the ring for that. And I was starting to get a little choked up too as he started going. And I was kind of hiding behind people because I was like, okay, easy now. I don't want to be breaking down in front of everybody.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, man, this is intense. This was a very, very, very special moment. And, you know, it didn't happen in our building. Yeah, we were away from home, so to speak. But that don't take away. But don't take away. Don't belittle this moment. Yeah. It was still a very huge moment. It was awesome.
You make an interesting point. There has been a lot of scuttlebutt lately on the socials from our general manager about the potential of an SHW World Tour. So with that said, that means big SHW moments are not confined to the Action Building.
Yeah.
Big moments in this sport are not confined to the Action Building. And personally, I'm very excited about that. I think that is absolutely incredible. And for all that AC Mack represents, I mean, obviously being an SHW guy, he's literally family to us.
Yeah.
And watching that, it was just like, oh my gosh. And then, you know, here's a stat, which is incredible, to think that he is the first openly gay male world champion in the history of the sport.
That's crazy.
I mean, I'm going to unpack that one day, but right now I'll just say it is incredible to watch how much history we get to live, we get to be a part of. And as crazy as it sounds that's the first time that it happens in 2022, I'm just glad that it happened.
Yeah.
So I just think you know, representation, we've talked about it before, representation for everyone matters. And it is important that when people look and they buy a ticket to a wrestling event or they look on television, that they see somebody that reflects them. And so I am just excited for what AC Mack represents, for what the world title represents, and that he's our guy. And we're going to see that title really, really soon.
Really soon.
I can't wait to meet Iris. It's going to be great.
Oh,
Exactly,
I know,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So, of course, you know, AC Mack loves to name his titles. And this one, he let us know in that promo right after the match that her name is Iris.
Hello, Iris.
And she's very lovely. And I can't wait to meet her in person. And on that note, that brings us to preparing to previewing SHW36, which is happening 1 week from tonight. Friday, February 4th in the Action Building, Canton, Georgia, 261 Marietta Road. You're not going to want to miss it. Tickets will go on sale at the door starting at 5 p.m. Doors open at 7 p.m. Bell time at 8 p.m. So
very good, B.
Well done.
Thanks. I've typed it a million times. You think I would know? Anyway, so let's get into that. And you know what? Let's just, since we're talking about Mac and we're talking about the IWTV Independent Wrestling World Title, let's go ahead and start with that match. So it was announced earlier this week that we've also have seen what happened over the last few months. There's been a lot going on, but with Mac, Joe Black kind of teaming up, Owen, David Ali. They had a tag team match last month. Well, ever since David returned back in December, he's kind of seemed like he had a sight set on AC Mack. In fact, they could even the ring couldn't contain them last month, or earlier this month, I should say. They brawled all the way to the back. So that set up a match for next Friday. We're going to see AC Mack, David Ali. Now, that match was announced earlier this week. The very next day, we find out from representatives from IWTV that not only are they going to have a match, that now they're going to allow the Independent Wrestling World Championship to be on the line for that match. So AC Mack's very first title defense of the IWTV Independent Wrestling World Championship will take place at SHW36 in the Action Building, and it will take place against former and longest reigning SHW champion David Ali, a man who, in many people's opinion, mine included, should have been the Wrestler of the Year in the state of Georgia. So you've got AC Mack defending this title against top dog in Georgia. And I mean, talk about big time, big match feel. You guys, what was your reaction when you found out that this was happening?
I was amazed, honestly, personally. I mean, first of all, for them to allow us to have his first title defense at SHW, I mean, hey, I get to call it. Yeah. Well, halfway, because I'm sure AC is going to do his thing, but at least I get to call half of it. But still, I'm amazed, actually. And I want to say this: David has seemed to have also taken sort of a turn from his ruthless ways. So he's more of a gentle person now, more gentler, maybe. I don't know how you would say that, but he's not as ruthless as he was. But I don't want him to lose his momentum, because he had a banger of a year of 2021. And I like to see that spill over into the following 2022. But with that being said, AC Mack is on that high. He is on that high, and he's so capable. And of course, he's been wanting the SHW title for a while, but he's got a world title now. You're not going to be able to tell loudmouth nothing. Not nothing. You know what I'm saying?
No
That's going to be a jam up match for real.
Yeah, I you know, the implications for this are incredible. And so I kind of, you know me, I'm the history guy, right? So let me explain me? Imagine that.
I never noticed.
Wouldn't have guessed that. So the importance of the IWTV World Championship, Independent Wrestling World Championship, really takes me back to the days of the 70s and the 80s, where the NWA World Championship was really in its heyday. No knock to the current version of the NWA Championship, but the NWA World Championship in the 70s and the 80s was defended in territories, right? In other independent organizations like Georgia Championship Wrestling and World Class, Mid-Atlantic, and all these places where the NWA champion would travel from territory to territory, defending the title against whoever the top contender there was for that championship. It's important to note that that territory also had its own championship that it recognized as well. So obviously we've gone through the whole national promotion, tearing up the territories. But if we're honest, the territories are back. Independent wrestling is the new territory. Yeah. And now the territories have a world champion. That world champion happens to be AC Mack. And he talked in his promo about, going to places like, Limitless and several other spots. But his first championship match is in SHW against David Ali. The history between these two goes back to the very beginning of their career. Of course, they spent time together in the new era. They've both been SHW champion. He's the longest reigning SHW champion. Something has got to give. And I'll tell you, I'm just honored to be in the building calling this one because this is history, however you look at it. Exactly. I refuse to pick a favorite on this one because either of them could win it. And can you imagine David Ali being the guy to say, I ended AC Mack's IWTV world title reign? The whole world is talking about this. They'd be talking about Ali for real all over the world if he wins the title next Friday night.
And of course he's going to want to make Mack's reign the shortest reign. You know what I mean? So this is Mack's very first title defense. And Mack, we talked about it before, but he had quite a bit to say about the folks up north.
Sure did.
He said, this is a movement, and I'm holding this belt hostage. And if you want to fight for it, you want to fight me for it, you come to the South. And, he's going to keep it in the South. And what better place for the first defense than Southern Honor Wrestling, one of the premier promotions, not only in the South, but in the country. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And
absolutely.
I just can't wait. And the thing that's, you talked about just the landmark win and him being the first openly gay world champion, and the coverage this is getting. It's getting mainstream coverage
everywhere.
It's a huge deal, folks. If you don't know what's going on right now, just start paying attention. Look at the articles that have been posted over the last week. I mean, it's all over the place. And so the fact that his first defense will be at SHW is a big deal, and I couldn't be more excited that that's happening in our building at our show. So like you said, I can't pick a favorite. I can't pick one in this one, but I just know it's going to be a great match. If you look on David Ali's Facebook post earlier this week, he talks about what you touched on, GB, some of their history going back to the early days for both of them in WWA 4, all the way through SHW in the new era. They've been in multiple factions together. They've come up together. They've wrestled numerous times over the years, and it's going to be a good one. It is going to be a barn burner, and I cannot wait to see this match. And like Diana said, and GBU as well, like I can't wait to call this match. So,
oh my gosh, this might be a scenario where we call this a co-main event because this is just such a massive.
It's
massive
big. It's
scenario. Yeah,
absolutely a co-main event. I just, normally we'd save the big main event matches till the end of the show to talk about, but because we were talking about AC Mack, it just went right into it. Let's get,
it's massive news. The world is talking about it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, folks. We still got 6 or 7 other matches here to tell you about.
Right.
Okay.
Good Lord.
Well, let's look at, a match that we should have seen a couple months ago. However, due to the state of the world, certain people can't make it sometimes at the last minute. Well, these two behemoths, this has been brewing for a while. I'm talking about Cyrus the Destroyer and the Priest of Punishment, Judas, will finally do battle face-to-face in the ring. And again, we've said this before. I don't know where this match is on the card, but if it's early in the night and the ring implodes, I don't know what we're going to do for the rest of the show. But
it's going to be a street fight for the rest of the show, I guess. Just take it out to the parking lot.
It very well may be, but let's just hope that the ring, YJ and the boys get that thing extra reinforced.
Right.
Because it's going to need it. But you guys, Cyrus, Judas, it's going to be good.
If we actually finally get this match.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we still have 7 days for something to go
You're
wrong.
right.
Don't jinx
You
it.
never know. We're just
Don't-
going to hope that we finally have this match.
Don't jinx it.
No, I mean, because, you know, I
Mm-mm.
mean, with me, to jinx it, I have to actually say something positive. So
Oh,
that's just how I roll. I don't know why. That's just what tags on me. But still, this match, like you said, Bohemians, big Mama Jummas, they are, when they clash of the Titans, could we do that?
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't even know what to expect. There's Judas is tall, he's big, he's strong. He flies, I guess. I mean, but so does Cyrus. I mean, he jumps off the whatever middle rope and spins, does the whole Vader bomb thing, and it's whoever, I don't know, made the biggest man win.
He does stuff that he shouldn't be able to do.
That he did the
Both-
somersault. Did he not do the somersault, the backflip?
Yeah.
He did a whole
I don't-
moonsault. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I just want to see it. Just let me have it. I just want to see it. Make it happen, please.
Yes, I am absolutely with you. I think this is one of those scenarios where things happen when they are supposed to.
Right.
And given the amount of eyes that are now focusing on SHW for SHW36, perhaps the stars aligned and this match is going to happen on the night it's supposed to happen. If there is a night for this to happen, it's SHW36. And I will tell you, I can't wait to see it. It's going to be incredible. These two guys, good luck.
Good luck.
Made the biggest man, whoever's left standing, I don't know. If the house is left standing, I don't know. It's
right.
You know, we've said it.
craziness.
We say it all the time about the roof coming off the place. I have a feeling next Friday, many of these matches, I don't know if the roof's going to stay on the building. Like, it's going to be, all these matches are huge, but we talk about the big man, right? Let's go into another big man, a guy who we've seen his transition over the last several months into the Heathen Cruel. He had a match last month with Sal, our pal Sal Renaro. Sal shocked the world when he was
a wacky match. Oh
it
my
was
God,
insane.
such a wacky match.
And if you haven't gone back and watched it, like I just went back and watched it this past Monday. SHW35 is on IWTV at this point. So if you didn't see it live, or even if you did see it live, go back and check it out so you can hear our lovely voices. But also because it was such a great show. And going back and watching that match a second time, like I'm still in disbelief that Sal was able to pull off what he pulled off. And then, you know, we were trying to kind of avoid talking about this because it was such a kind of a scary situation. But you know what? It's on IWTV for the world to see. So I'll bring it up again. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with the fact that Brooklyn was not there that night. And we said it on commentary. Normally, she can kind of keep a leash on Cruel and call him off if he's, you know, going after.
Literally.
She wasn't there. He snapped. He lost this match to Sal, went after the crowd, was throwing pieces of giant pieces of tables.
Destroying ringside.
Yeah, the ring steps went flying. I mean, it was a scary few moments after that match when he just lost it, you know. And I mean, I get you're upset that you lost a match, but my goodness. I mean, he just lost it. And so what we've announced for next Friday is a rematch with Sal and the Heathen Cruel, but this time a no disqualification match. And I was worried about Sal
We need to double up security for one, just in case.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. And I was worried that Sal getting into it last week or last month, I thought, what is he thinking? Now he's getting
He's not thinking.
But then he ended up winning the match. So what do I know?
Yeah, but he's not there. So I mean, like I said last week, it's like he doesn't understand that, oh, that's supposed to hurt.
Yeah.
It's not registering, so he's just going to keep going.
It just fires him up.
Sure, yeah, and just makes him laugh. When he's laughing and he's getting beat up at the same time, I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
But it's Sal, and that's what makes Sal great, is that he can take on monsters like Cruel and defeat them by putting them through a table. And then he just kind of trotted out. No big deal, you know?
Just another day at the office.
Yeah, no big deal. Let me go find my, whatever it is, my stuffed animals or whatever he plays with in the back. I don't know. But yeah, this one's going to be, I'm going to wear some shoes I can run in this time.
Smart move.
There was one point, I don't know if it was before the match. Might have been before, or it might have been when Cruel was coming over to get the table, because he was getting you guys the timekeeper table,
Yeah.
and Zach, you see Zach kind of.
First of all,
I was like, get out of there.
That Mountain Dew can he went back to get was already empty, and he went back to grab it, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Leave it.
Just let it be.
Boy was gonna die for a can.
Just get out of there. But
then Cruel was like jumping at him, and he jumped.
I was like, just get out of there, man.
I'm gonna have to keep Zach on a leash.
Oh yeah.
Keep him.
Yeah.
Come here.
Pull him back.
Because getting too close to the edge, you're gonna fall into the 8 pit. Come on, man.
Zach's heart is one of those that says, I can take on, he thinks his name is David, and he's like, I can take on any Goliath in the world.
Yeah.
I don't care how big they are. And it's like, Zach, you're 110 pounds soaking wet with combat boots on. Sir,
but he's
get
fast.
out of Cruel's way.
He's quick.
He's fast.
He's fast.
He's like Lightning. We're gonna have to come up with his name, Lightning Zach or something.
The new Lightning Kid. But I'm telling you, when Lightning gets caught, it's not good. He's been through one table, and after what Cruel did to him, and after what Cruel did last month, stay very far away.
Yes, I'm telling you, I'm gonna have to just hold his hand and run with him.
Lightning Zach.
Lightning Zach. Something. We got to come up with something.
Hashtag Zach Attack.
Be careful. That's going to end up on a shirt soon.
Hey, go for it, man. Put it on a shirt.
Zach's the merch king.
I know he is. Go for it,
buddy.
We're spitting. This is gold. This is gold we're giving you, Zach.
Man,
just give us our cut,
special,
Zach.
He's probably the one selling the most out there. Jesus Lord.
Oh,
well, Diana, I mean, you guys have already been booked in like a mixed tag match.
That's what I heard.
Apparently, it's Zach and Diana.
Was it SHW38 or something?
Let me tell you a little ditty about Zach and Diana. SHW40 something. I forget what it was.
God, yes. Oh, he has to graduate wrestling school. I have to be able if I'm not in a walker.
Look, I'm telling you right now, I'm there for it, and I'm excited to call it.
God, man.
I know we're laughing and joking, but if it happens, I'm ready to call the action. So
if it happens, I would have it no other way.
Good Lord.
So, but let's get back to next week. And here's the thing that I'm wondering, because we didn't know she wasn't going to be there last month.
Right.
Brooklyn wasn't there. Brooklyn, like we said, has been the one to be able to somehow control Cruel and kind of keep him on a leash. Yeah. And will she be there next Friday? We don't know. But if she's not, and he's in any sort of mood like he was last time, I don't feel good for Sal.
Well, what's scary is
in a no DQ situation.
Exactly. Like now everything's legal.
Yeah.
So
and there's no containment. So I mean, you can get outside the barricade, which means the fans are in danger as well.
Ooh.
So I don't.
Yeah. I'm nervous for this one.
Very much.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on down the list here. We were super surprised to see, albeit brief, return last month at the end of the tag championship match. So you saw Technical Excellence just retain the titles. They're celebrating in the ring. Some familiar music hits all of a sudden, and it even took me a second to go, wait, like I know this music. What's happening? And then turning around and seeing Matt and Joey Lynch on the stage with their video playing on the big screens, and I said it before, the roof came off the place. I mean, the crowd.
We can't keep that thing on it. Good
I know.
Lord.
But that crowd pop, I mean, holy cow. And
well, we popped. Did y'all not pop? Because me and Zach were popping.
Oh, GB and I both did as well. Go back.
It was shocking.
Go back on IWTV.
Yes.
Yeah, go watch it on IWTV and hear it for yourself.
Awesome.
We had quite the reaction, but So one thing that we noticed was that they seemed to have their sights set on the current tag champs, that being Kyle and Chip of Tech X. However, we also found out that just because they decided to show back up doesn't mean they're going to automatically be put right back into the title picture. And this is according to our general manager, and that makes total sense. You know, they've been gone for nearly a year. This will be their first match back since last March when they lost those titles to Lethal Poison. And another team, coincidentally, that we have not seen since last March at that very same show in a different match is the Washington Bullets. And we briefly touched on this last week when that match had been announced last week. But so that'd be a great tag team match here. Both of these teams looking to get back into the title picture. The Bullets have never been SHW tag champs, but they're one of the best tag teams for years. They've been around a good while, as well as Matt and Joey. They've both teams have been around a long time. So both teams have that mindset of, you know, this win is important. This win means a lot. And GB, you even touched on it last week. If Matt and Joey Lynch cannot win next week, you know, what does that mean for their future in the title picture? That wouldn't look good. So, well, it's going to be a good match. What do you guys think?
I'm excited for it. I mean, I've worked with John and Trey, the Washington Bullets, a few times in a different promotion, and they're high, they're fast, you know, that they're quick, and they have, you know, that camaraderie, the teamwork, they're brothers, for God's sakes. I mean, they obviously been doing this probably since they were tots, you know, like the rest of us who like to grow up thinking they're going to be superheroes when they get older. But, you know, and then you got the Lynch brothers who I'm sure did the same thing. So for them to bring their teams together and give us, that's going to be hot. It's going to be hot.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it, for real.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the match. I think if I'm looking at this, there's a few things to consider. Yes, both teams are brothers, so that kind of, you know, nullifies who's had the most experience together. But what I do think is a challenge is this. When we go back and think about the Lynch brothers, back in March of 2021 was when they lost the SHW Tag Team Championships. But let's keep this in mind. That was their only tag team match all year.
Right.
They were supposed to be there in January. They were supposed to be there in February. There was kind of an ultimatum given that if they didn't show up in March, that they would lose or be stripped of the tag titles. They came in, lost, have not wrestled since. So they've gone most of 2021 without being in a ring. The Bullets are still wrestling. They're still active. They're still moving. They've got lots of grease happening for them. So I think the question will be, can the layoff turn into, you know, a functioning situation for the Lynch brothers, or will ring rust show up? And with this being such a heavy and significant match for these guys who want to be tag champions again, they've really got to get this together. And it doesn't matter how much you work out, doesn't matter how much cardio you do, none of that replaces reps in the ring. So of all the teams to be fighting after basically a year off, I wouldn't want to fight the Washington Bullets in that scenario at all. So I'm going to go on a limb and say that Joey and Matt Lynch are likely the underdogs in this match for that very reason.
For that reason, unless we don't really know what they've been doing for the past 10 months. They could,
I'd like to say
have
they
been
were
somewhere. I would like to think they were working out wrestling.
They've been family people.
Maybe.
They've had a baby. They've had things going on, and their focus wasn't the ring. They'll tell you that. Agree. So it's much different when you just decide, okay, I'm ready to jump back in the game. All right, you're ready to jump back in the game. The problem is the game has changed. A lot has happened since they left. You know, they're not the number one team right now. So they've got to really prove themselves. And it's going to be interesting to see. I hope people aren't automatically thinking that the Washington Bullets are just coming in to lay down and be happy that they're at SHW. Not the case, because the Washington Bullets are an extremely capable tag team. And now's the best time for them to get this win over the former SHW Tag Champions.
And could possibly be contenders later on.
They absolutely could.
Definitely could. And you can only ride that hype. Yeah, definitely.
The Approved came in here and we thought, oh, no. And they came in here, won matches, and got themselves a title shot. It can absolutely happen for the Washington Bullets.
Didn't like the way they did it, but they did.
Sure didn't. Sure didn't.
But
I agree.
and with the Lynch brothers, I mean, yes, they had that big, huge pop when they came out last show, but you can only ride that high so far. It
That's
doesn't
right.
get the 1, 2, 3. And I agree.
That's right.
So it's gonna be interesting.
Going to be good. And yeah, we say it every month. This whole card. I mean, this whole card is
It's stacked.
It's
Gosh.
stacked. Like
It's Southern Honor. Hello, it's gonna be.
yeah. What, do you expect anything less?
I mean, yeah, you
Right.
gotta expect the best.
Right.
Well, sticking to the tag team talk, a match that was announced earlier this week kind of surprised me, but I'm very excited for it because I never thought about this combination of teams here. But we've got Adam Priest, who made his debut last month in a surprise win over Kevin Ryan. He was actually picked as Ryan's opponent by Jordan Kingsley. Well, Priest and Kingsley will be teaming up, facing Kevin Ryan and Dylan McQueen. Dylan McQueen was supposed to be there last month as Kevin Ryan's pick to take on Jordan Kingsley. McQueen couldn't make it. Skrilla the Great filled in. Kingsley was able to get the win. However, after that match, Kevin Ryan attacked Kingsley in the ring, left him laying. Priest kind of ran out to help him. A little too late, but he kind of tried to make the save there. So I'm excited for this tag team match. We're going to see Priest and Kingsley facing Ryan and Dylan McQueen. Dylan McQueen. Let's talk about Dylan McQueen for a second, because here's a guy, we've seen him at the Rumble Jack. Okay. GB, you and I were familiarized with him a little bit at the Nightmare Factory. We've seen numerous matches. We've seen him in training. Now, Diana, of course, you saw him at Zicky Dice's Outlandish Paradise.
I got real close to him at Zicky's show.
Yeah, you did he was part of that Battle Royal where
Hey Brother.
Yeah, the Hey Brother Battle Royal. And there was a sacker save feature in the match where some of the guys, once they got eliminated, the fans on Twitch could vote whether to sack them or save him and let him re-enter the match. Well, he was one of the guys, and you got to be the one interviewing him during that. We don't have to go into detail about it.
I learned so much about him in just
I'm sure
5 seconds. It was the face.
Yeah. It was a great picture. And if you haven't seen it on social media, it's a funny picture. But
he's very interesting.
He's very entertaining and a very exciting competitor. And every time I've seen him, the very first time we saw him at the Nightmare Factory, and he had been around the Southeast prior to that. I just hadn't seen him personally until we saw him at the Nightmare Factory. And right away, I think you and I both, GB, were kind of like, well, this guy's got it. We immediately were like, this guy knows what it's all about. He knows how to entertain, and he can wrestle. He's got the whole package. So I'm excited to finally see him in an SHW ring other than the Rumble Jack. So it's going to be exciting. Of course, Priest is coming back. We said at the end of the match last month that I hope he comes back because he put on a great match and really showed out for the Southern Honor crowd. And they were already behind him. A lot of them knew who he was going into that match. So a crazy tag team a match that I didn't even think I wanted, and now I see it on the poster, and I can't wait for it. So I'm excited.
But it seems like there's already a story, though, with Jordan, Kevin, and Adam because of all that went on last show. So Dylan's coming in kind of like, what do I do? What do I do? I mean, does he know?
I will say prior to last show, and this is before, there was travel issues and he couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But the day before, he had posted a video promo, talking about how, Kevin Ryan's his boo. And there's boo thing, I think is what it was, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what he said.
And so he knew he was coming after Jordan Kingsley.
He's already on the defense for him.
So he's him and Ryan have a partnership outside of SHW that I think, there's a story there as well. So I think he has an idea of what he's getting himself into here.
Yeah, he definitely does. Yeah, you're right. I think it's going to be great. And I'm intrigued. The interesting part here is, Jordan Kingsley has teamed for so long, of course, with Kevin Ryan. Yeah. How will they both operate with new tag team partners? That's going to be interesting. Now, if I had to choose a tag team partner, they both made great choices. I mean, I'm so excited about seeing Dylan McQueen in an SHW ring in this capacity. I think it's going to be great. And if indeed there is this chemistry between he and Kevin Ryan, then they could be working on some things that we don't even know about yet and could unveil them. The flip side is, if I'm going to pick a partner out of some of the new faces that have shown up, Adam Priest is the guy. He was so impressive at SHW35. Go back and watch it. And, you know, a lot of people, when they come into the doors of SHW, they can make an impression, but sometimes they do it in a losing effort. He made a massive impression and beat the first ever SHW champion. So the people love him. We love him. I think this is going to be another barn burner here. And I don't know if these two teams are going to find themselves teaming regularly or if this is just part of a war. But either way, I'm here for it.
Either way, it's going to be part of a war. So we're just here for the next step. So let's go. It's the next battle, I guess.
Absolutely.
Speaking of war, here's a match. Well, it's not even a match at this point, but it feels like there might be a war brewing because over the last few months, every time Gunnar Miller enters the ring and has a match, he's been getting interrupted by these video promos from Reverend Dan Wilson, mainly Reverend Dan Wilson, with Tank kind of in the background. And after the last match, after this past show, Gunnar had a match with Carly Bravo, which props to Carly Bravo, gave him a bit of a run for his money. I think Gunnar even said it after the match, like this guy put up more than a fight that he was expecting. And they tried to distract Gunnar again. Gunnar didn't fall for it this time, but you could tell throughout the whole match that it was in the back of his mind, and he kept looking at the stage, kept looking at the big screens, and they tried to interrupt or tried to distract him. It didn't work. Gunnar got on the mic after the match and just basically said, you know what? If you like deathmatch wrestling, go watch deathmatch wrestling. Tank's a deathmatch legend, especially in the Southeast and in Georgia, and that's great. But Gunnar just laid it out there. He said, this is Southern Honor. You want to come here? We're going to have a wrestling match. Come here, fight me, and let's do this. And so we didn't see Tank or Dan Wilson in the building last month. I don't know if we're going to see him in the building next Friday, but I do know that Gunnar Miller will be in the building, and he has every intention of calling out Tank once again. And so how will it play out? I don't know. I'm hoping at some point Tank shows up and either we have a match or at least have a confrontation, have something. I don't know, but I do know that one time and the one time only that I've seen Tank in the Southern Honor ring was at the Rumblejack. Our friend, poor Nathan, took the skewers to the head. Danny only took the skewers to the head. Gunnar, though, put Tank through a table, and then he picked him up and threw him over the top rope. So, you know, that's why Tank is out for Gunnar right now. I get that, but why all these mind games? Like, why not just show up and do the damn thing? Excuse me. I'm fired up.
Hey, you're fired up. It's all good.
All right, we got rolling there. But what do you guys, I mean, is he going to be there next week? Is he? I don't know. We got 7 days.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I think the mind games come from, it's like a psyche out. Like Gunnar's an athlete, football player. You get into your opponent's head, especially on the football field, and it's easier to, run past them, overcome on the field. Same thing. Yeah. Same thing. He's got to mess with his head a little bit, get him off his game to see, what he's going to do, when he's going to mess, if he's going to mess up, what wrong move he made. He's just strategizing from the back. I don't know. Maybe they don't. Maybe he's just crazy. He's crazy if you ask me, but I'm just kind of, thinking of, out the box. But he might have put skewers in somebody's head. Come on, man. No. But I don't want to see that happen with Gunnar. Honestly, I don't want to see it at all. It's gross, but that's not my thing at all. But I know, just rambling on. I know it's just crazy.
I agree.
I
got
a lot going on up here about what I don't want, what I kind of do want, but I can't say it.
You're fired up too. I got fired up about it. You get fired up about it.
I just can't get it out. I just can't spew it out. I want it to happen because it's going to be. I think Gunnar's really going to find the fire that he's kind of been missing before. That we talked about. He was. Where's his mind at? Because we all thought he wanted the Southern Honor Championship, and he went for that. He had 2 shots, but then this whole thing started happening. So maybe this is what's going to really get his feet under him, to give him the extra push. Is he going to defeat this crazy guy? I don't know, but I'm here for it. I want to see what happens.
I'm reminded of the great Tony Braxton, who said 7 whole days and not a word from you.
From you.
That is exactly
real quick. I don't know that I would have ever expected Tony Braxton and Tank to be talked about in the same conversation. So
exactly.
No, lyrics and words, it's all good.
Leave it to me, right? But I'm sure that is exactly how Gunnar Miller is feeling right now.
Right.
He's gone all this time. He called, listen, what's his name? Lil Nas X said, call me by your name, right? He calls Tank by his birth name.
Real name.
Okay? Like, he did everything he could, but here's what I'm learning, which is the scary part. Tank holds grudges for a long time. Now, let's face it. He got eliminated from the Rumble Jack, right? I'm not sure that Tank really had eyes on being SHW champion. Like, I don't know that that's in his wheelhouse right now. He's kind of semi-retired. He comes out to play when he wants to. I don't think in his head when he entered the Rumble Jack, he was going SHW champion.
He was there.
His focus, he wanted to stay in there as long as he could so he could hurt as many people as he could in his style. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with that said, and now he's been going after Gunnar Miller for close to 4 months. Mm-hmm. He's finding ways to get in Gunnar's head, and he's frustrating Gunnar. Honestly, I don't know whether he shows up this week. Or next week. What I do know is he's going to pick the opportune time. And if I'm Gunnar Miller, I'd be scared because Gunnar Miller might expect him at the Action Building. He doesn't expect him, I don't know, say if he's going to drop his kid off at school.
See, I was just thinking about it.
Tank is crazy. Yeah. And I'm just telling you, you don't want to get into a fight with a crazy man who'll drop skewers on a camera guy, right? That's what this guy does. So Gunnar has to be extremely careful. And as much as he was looking over his shoulder at the match at SHW35, he probably needs to look over his shoulder wherever he goes, because I don't think Tank is going to come after him in the traditional way. It might be in the locker room. It might be in the parking lot. It might be at the gym. It might be dropping his kid off at school. Who knows? All I do know is when Tank shows up, we're all going to know.
Absolutely, we're all gonna know. I mean, that place is gonna. Oh, See, I want it to happen, but at the same time, I'm a little scared. I'm
a lot scared.
Whew. But it'll be interesting to see when it finally does happen, how it's gonna play out. Will they just have a traditional wrestling match? Will Tank be opposed to that and only do the death match style that he's used to? I don't know. But we're going to find out soon enough, hopefully, and we'll see. But, we talked about the big IWTV championship match that's going to be taking place next week. We also have 2 big SHW title matches, one for the SHW Tag Team Championships and then one for the SHW Championship. Well, let's talk about the tag titles first. Our champs, they retained last month after a great match with the Approved, a Jimmy Rave tribute match, and they were able to retain the titles, Chip and Kyle. Now they go into SHW36 facing a team that a lot of people for many months have wanted to get another title shot, that being Hold My Beer Hansen and William Huckabee, a.k.a. the All-Star Special. And I'm excited that they're finally getting another shot because as we remember, several months back, they had a shot. Due to the Approved with outside interference, it caused All-Star Special to get counted out of that match, and they've yet to receive another shot until 1 week from tonight. So SHW36, Hansen and Huckabee, it's time to put up or shut up. Hansen's been pushing for it for months, trying to get another rematch here. So here it comes. What do you guys think?
Isn't this the first time we see them without Logan since Logan retired?
It's a good point.
I'm sad.
It's a good point.
Sad.
But remember, though, we had seen them prior to Logan being their manager, and they were still just as hot as they were with hot. Logan.
However, but it just added.
Right. However, what does it do to their psyche? Like, are they going to still have that on their mind about how Logan is retired and is gone now? I don't know. We'll see.
I think they'll be fine, but I won't be. I won't.
That's fair.
You won't have your dance partner.
I'm already exactly. Well, yeah, missing Logan already, but this match needs to happen, no doubt. It needs to happen, and it needs to happen fairly, without interruption. It needs to happen. I think Holma Beer Hansen and Huckabee have proven that they are worthy to hold these titles. If that be the outcome, they travel everywhere. They're all over North Carolina, wherever, and they're proving themselves. Who'd have thought?
Right?
Really, who'd have thought? William Huckabee, the Incredible Huck, and Hold My Beer Hansen could make such an awesome tag team, get along so well, to work together so well. To put on the matches that they put on. I mean, they can roll with the best of them. I have no doubt with that. So this, and I love Tech X. There's nothing I need to say about technical excellence. They are the champions for a reason, and rightfully so. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this match. Definitely looking forward to this match. Been waiting on this one.
Yeah, 2 years ago, neither of these two teams existed.
Yeah.
Right.
And here we are now. Both of these teams are our absolute favorites.
Yeah.
It is incredible. And as you were talking about the rise of All-Star Special, just watching what they have done, they're the epitome of a true tag team.
Right.
Two guys who've come together. They're on the road together. They're doing the rides to the towns together. They're training together. They're doing all of these things together. And it shows. It's incredible. You raise an interesting point, Diana, about, now them being without Logan Chase, which initially seemed like, wow, this is going to be a great experiment. They're going to torture Chase. They ended up loving the guy. The guy loved them back. So what's going to happen here? I think this is going to be great. Now we can make this point. Logan's retired now, so he won't beat me up for this. But
here we go. I knew it's coming.
One of their primary losses came as a result of a distraction from Logan Chase. So without Logan, and when the Approved showed up, they attacked Logan Chase during that tag match. So now Logan Chase is out of the picture. The Approved already had their tag title match. The Approved has lost to All-Star Special. It seems like the road is clear for a fair fight between All-Star Special and Tech X. This is another great match that could honestly go either way. Let's face it. All-Star Special has been working for the entire year to get to this point where they can be SHW Tag Team Champions. Tech X, matter of fact, both of these teams, in my opinion, were top contenders for this whole Tag Team of the Year situation because of what they have accomplished, certainly in SHW and in other places. So I'm telling you guys, this is another match where I can't call it. But if it's anything like the last match, let's remember, guys, the last match was incredible. And we saw a side of All-Star Special we have never seen before.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm sure they're watching tape. They've probably gone back on IWTV to watch that match over to see what they could have changed, what they could have done differently. I think Tech X better be careful because this is going to be a barn burner.
Absolutely. I cannot wait for this tag team title match. It's going to be a good one for sure. And before we get into the Southern Honor Championship match, let me just mention, at the top of the show, we talked about the show last Friday, Southeast First, down in Tyrone, Georgia. And I was there calling the Southern Honor match, and there was a certain somebody in the crowd that had a very vested interest in the outcome of that match. And I'm talking about none other than the Black Cloud. Joe Black was actually in the audience, and I don't think they ever showed him on camera or anything, but he definitely was there. I saw him backstage. I saw him in the crowd while I was calling the match, and I didn't know, was he going to get involved? I wasn't sure, but what I took away from it was he's just a pro's pro. He's there doing his homework, because had Kyle Matthews come away with the win, it would be Kyle Matthews defending that title against Joe Black next week. So, despite how you feel about Joe Black lately, about how he's been acting and how he's been treating the fans, I got to give it up to him. He's a pro's pro. He was there that night doing his homework, and it was interesting to see him there. And as we know, Owen Knight successfully retained, and it will be Owen Knight versus Joe Black next Friday, SHW36. Joe getting another shot at Owen Knight, as we recall, a couple months back. Let's see, was it November? Let me think. When there was the classic, the draw, the 30-minute draw.
Yes,
So,
it was November.
A 30-minute draw, and I mean, an instant classic. We talked about it on commentary. We've talked about it on this podcast. And yeah, there was an extra couple of minutes that came at the end that was never sanctioned, unofficial. And I think Joe Black would prefer for it to stay unofficial because if you recall, Owen Knight took him out with a quick clock out and pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. But again, officially in the books, it was a 30-minute time limit draw, and Owen Knight was able to retain that title. So Joe Black, we've seen a whole attitude change since then. We've seen a whole nother side. And after what he did at the end of last month's show, I keep saying last month, but you guys know what I mean, earlier this month. And at the end of SHW35, let's put it that way. Danny Jordan making her return. Beating there was 2/3 of New Era. The third showed up, and that being Danny Jordan. We heard the New Era music. We saw a mini New Era reunion, so to speak, and she joined us on commentary. And then at the end of the show, Joe Black attacking Danny Jordan, choking her out in the ring until he got what he wanted, which was another shot at Owen Knight and the SHW Championship. Well, Gary Lamb reluctantly gave him that match. It's happening 1 week from tonight. And if I'm Owen Knight, I'm a little more nervous this time because this is a whole dark side of Joe Black, a black cloud that I haven't seen in years, you know. And now after what he did to Danny, we've seen that he's willing to stoop to any level to do whatever it takes to get his way. So what's he going to do to win this title? I don't know.
I don't think I've personally ever seen this side of Joe. I mean, you know, I wasn't there at the beginning of Southern Honor. I didn't go to AWE. Was it AWE in Atlanta?
Yeah.
I haven't been to one of those shows, and I don't even know if they're still going, but I've never seen, I mean, I've seen Joe against Huck, and that's a whole different thing than what we've got from Joe now. I mean, he was ruthless then, but it wasn't like sadistic. Now he was choking Danny out while he was serenading her.
He was singing the song Hurt, which is originally by 9 Inch Nails. He was doing the Johnny Cash version, which was like the slower, creepier version. Right. And he's singing it, having karaoke jam while he's choking out.
Like he was just kind of shushing her to sleep.
That was scary.
It was. And watching that back on IWTV, it didn't make it any more calm to me. It was still, oh my God, you know? So, I mean, like I said before, Owen's going to need to dig deep and find some ruthlessness about him as well. I've seen him be, you know, a little ruthless, but this Joe Black thing right now, I don't know. And if Joe does lose, will he accept this? Will he accept that loss? Or will he go further to get what he ultimately thinks he deserves, which is the title? I don't know.
And I'm almost nervous for the three of us, one Zach included, that you know, we're that close to ringside. So you're right. If he does lose, what's he going to do then? I don't want to be near him. You know?
I'm telling you, having my running shoes on tonight, I'm telling you. I'm not. I don't know. What you think, Jay? I don't know.
You know, this is so interesting on a lot of levels. I mean, Joe Black is one of the most respected wrestlers in the business, now a 2-time Wrestler of the Year, and deservedly so. He's done so much in the business, and he is just beloved in so many places. But these last 3 to 4 months have been a different side of him. He snapped. It is just not the scenario any of us imagined. And the promo king now has a black cloud hanging over him, and he has embraced said black cloud. He is comfortable with said black cloud, and that is of concern. But let's talk about this other side, which Joe Black, being a learned man, likely knows this, and this is also eating away at him. The fact that Owen Knight has held the SHW championship longer than Joe Black. The fact that today marks day 112 of the championship reign of Owen Knight. The fact that Owen Knight has done something that no other SHW champion has done, which has had 2 successful title defenses outside of the action building. And he's done that in less than 4 months. This is pretty incredible. And by the time we get to Friday, Owen Knight will have then tied our first SHW champion, Kevin Ryan, for what is the 4th longest SHW championship reign at 119 days. Now, why does all of this matter? Because Joe Black's reign was only 70 days. Joe Black only had 1 successful title defense. And Joe Black feels like that is not how he wants to be remembered in holding the SHW championship. So he would go after anybody to change that, be it Owen Knight. If Kyle Matthews had won last Friday, he'd go after Kyle Matthews. He went after, of course, Danny Jordan to get to Owen Knight. He'll do anything. Nothing is off limits for him. Right. That's a scary space to be in. But the other side of this is Owen Knight already beat Joe Black. Owen Knight has a win over Joe Black in a 30-minute classic that, in my opinion, should have been a contender for match of the year. The question, though, is that was the Joe Black that was trying to respect and show some degree of honor to our champion. Right. This isn't the same guy. So this is going to be very, very interesting. And again, with the eyes of the world on SHW36, you've got to believe that Joe Black would like to take that time more than any other to become the SHW champion and get all of the fanfare that his tag team partner from SHW35 currently has. This is going to be quite the match.
Yeah.
The whole show. This whole
Oh God, what a show.
SHW36, folks, you got to join us. If you hadn't planned it on it, make your plans right now. You have 7 days to get it figured out. Find a babysitter. Bring the baby. I don't care.
There's no reason. There's no reason you should not be at Action Building Friday.
You got to be there. It's going to be amazing. And like we said, 2 SHW championship matches, the tag titles, the main Southern Honor title. And then, as we found out earlier this week, AC Mack defending for the first time his IWTV Independent Wrestling World Championship, and it's taking place in a Southern Honor Wrestling ring at SHW36. I absolutely cannot wait. We say it every month. The card is stacked. How do we top it month to month? Well, they've done it again.
We keep going. We keep going and just keep going.
They've done it again. I can't wait to be there to call it. And I can't wait to see all of y'all there as well. We will be back with you from 7 to 7:30 with this pre-show, or with this podcast as the pre-show for SHW36. So tune in to the Facebook page, or better yet, just come to the Action Building and join us. Yes. And then watch this pre-show on your phone while you're there, sitting there like 10 feet away.
I may just stop by this time. I might just find a little time to stop by the table.
Absolutely.
And remember,
I miss you guys.
We miss you. Oh my God. And remember, they're tailgating. So you'll want to get there super early.
Tailgating competition there is.
Yes.
How could I forget to mention?
That's your favorite part.
I love tailgating.
Have y'all seen the Smack Talk?
Oh, they've been going back and forth.
Wow.
So on the SHW fan page, there's been a lot of smack talk. So that's actually where our GM has posted about the competition. It wasn't on the main page, which is why I forgot about it. But it's been on the Southern Honor fan page. And if you're not already part of that group, join it. What are you waiting for? So join the fan group. And
Brandon, aren't you a judge?
Apparently, I was tagged in one of the posts, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm one of the judges." So,
nice.
which is, I'm glad you reminded me, GB, to even bring it. Anyways,
Very cool.
I got a lot on my mind. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening.
A lot going on
for this
Absolutely.
show. So yeah, so apparently, a big tailgating competition. The smack talk has been going on for a couple weeks now. But get there early. I mean, people get there early as noon on show days sometimes. So hopefully we're hoping for good weather next Friday.
Yes.
And it'll be good tailgating weather. But there's some folks, Jeff knows I'm talking about him. They provide us with some good food from time to time.
And their tailgates are always awesome. But I don't even get to see it very, very, just seeing from the windows.
And their tailgate is lit every single month. And so now that there's been like an official competition announced, I know other people are going to be coming after that. But I mean, they do it up right every time.
We should have a tailgating title.
Ooh.
That would be cool, right? After we get a women's title.
Priorities.
Quite a bit on the docket. Priorities, absolutely. I also get this feeling that after all of the news from last Friday, that we might have an influx of people wanting to actually watch AC Mack's first live IWTV world title defense at the Action Building. So I'm just saying, guys, get there early, because I think that there's going to be, our crowds are normally big, but who knows how many additional people are going to show up to want to be able to talk about this, to be able to want to see this and witness this. There may be a second, third, and fourth, but there'll never again be a first. So you want to be there for that. And I think we're going to have a lot of folks joining us for that. So make plans. The only way to get tickets is 5 p.m. Eastern at the door of the Action Building. So make plans, get there early. As B-Dub said, people are online usually at like noon. So make plans, just carve out the whole day. Because listen, if you missed Southeast First last week, I'm telling you, you're kicking yourself like we are. So be at SHW36. Who knows what other history? Exactly. But either way, history is going to be made. So you want to be there for it. First time.
Do you want to be part of it, or do you want to hear about it?
Because you're going to hear about it.
We'll be sure that you hear about it.
Absolutely.
We'll be bragging to you how great it was.
Yeah, right.
By the way, prowrestlingtees.com/SHW pod. Grab some podcast merchandise. Suck up.
I got mine coming.
Let's make this announcement a little bit better, friends.
Sorry, I just wanted to remember before we got too far.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you can now get your official SHW podcast merch. It is official. You're going to love it. You may have seen a graphic or two about it, but right now you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/SHW pod. Get yourself a t-shirt of your new favorite wrestling podcast. Let the whole world know you love SHW podcast. It's somewhere, right? Yep, it's there. Yeah.
Well,
so go ahead, check it out. Get it now. And who knows, if you get it now, you might even, I don't know how quickly the folks at PWT work, but you might have it in time for the show next week. I don't know.
I have to have mine. I hope to.
Listen.
Yeah, get it shipped first class.
Yeah. So get that merch, rock it. Yeah, absolutely.
Wear your merch.
SHW
Come
pod.
see us. Get a picture with us in your merch.
Ooh,
that
have
part.
It posted on the podcast page.
See,
Come
Diana
on.
gets it, man.
Yeah.
She gets it.
By the way,
I'm okay.
SHW pod all over social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pro Wrestling Tees, YouTube, SHW pod. That's all you got to look for. And you'll find us. And you can check us out every week. On Instagram, you can see little snippets of stuff that you might want to check out. So I'm telling you guys.
All kinds of fun.
I'm telling
All
you.
kinds of fun. It's always a party.
This is where it's at, and we appreciate you guys checking us out, whether you're listening to us or watching us on Facebook or YouTube or listening to us on any of the streaming sites that you'd like to listen to your podcast. Whatever it is, we appreciate you guys, and we cannot wait to see you in person next Friday. The Action Building, SHW36. I cannot wait. You guys, 7 days. 7 days away.
7 whole days, yeah.
7 whole days.
Well, I tell you what.
There it is.
Oh, there you go. I tell you what, until we see you next week, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.